Good morning again, Mrs. Chester with a second video. I think I'm going to do 3 for 3 before lunchtime, though it's really after 12 here. I just finished my one about October, and I'm going to talk about this month's Vanity Fair. I did get Vanity Fair for a while, and if you want to look back, you'll see I did do a video once about an issue I read. I like Vanity Fair because it actually gives you things to read, as opposed to those celebrity magazines that have all the exclamation points and basically feature pictures of George Clooney and 6 words. They're really written like on a 10-year-old level, if that. I'm sure our president would enjoy them. Anyway, I got Vanity Fair because I got one of these magazine offers where you basically pay for the shipping, rather the postage only for a year. So for $2, I'm getting a year's worth. And the editor of Vanity Fair is now a woman. I haven't read Vanity Fair since the previous editor left, and actually Anna Wintour, who, as you know, is I believe she's the art director. Let me see if I can find the page. Anna Wintour, that iconic person who you see in the movies and as a joke. She actually lives in my neighborhood. You don't see her. She's at a private estate at the end of the road, but she's out here where nobody knows where she is. So my area is pretty exclusive in that way. She lives in a colonial era house. We have a number of historic mansions in this area, and she's in one of them. It's funny to see pictures of her estate, and it's the same foliage that I have around me. Anyway, Vanity Fair had a lot of good articles. There's one about Felicity Jones doing the Ruth Bader Ginsburg movie, and it's written by someone who just wrote a book about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Then we have an article about the woman who's directing the Ruth Bader Ginsburg movie. There's a thing about Hemingway. I didn't know Hemingway was an art collector. Evidently, he was a good friend of Miro, and there is a story in here about this very famous Miro called The Farm and what happened to it, and basically a fight for its custody after he passed away, since he had 4 wives, count them, 4. There's an article in here about Parkland, the Parkland guys, the March for Our Lives students. What else? There's a thing about Betsy DeVos and the family. They call the DeVos Prince family the Michigan Medicis. And basically, it is just full of good things. There's also another article here called Dead End on Highway 1, which is about some women who were murdered in Mississippi. And let me see if I can find the place. Rosedale, the very famous Rosedale that Robert Johnson was later to immortalize in song. In fact, very near that very same crossroads. Funny, but when I first heard Eric Clapton as Derek and the Dominoes singing Going Down to Rosedale, I thought he meant Rosedale, Queens, which is part of New York City. Shows you what I know. And okay, so what's different about Vanity Fair now that there's a woman author? Well, they have the usual makeup ads. They have the usual very bizarre fashion ads. I got to show you this one from Gucci. This person's wearing a ski mask, shirt with a Russ Meyer movie. I have no idea what kind of fetish you'd call this. I did also notice something I hadn't seen in Vanity Fair before, which was, besides perfume, an ad for sanitary products. It's actually an ad in here for Always, I believe it's Always pads, and a couple of ads for Netflix. It doesn't look like the advertising has changed. They haven't seemed to have lost any advertising. There's a big article on best dressed people from Vanity Fair, and they mention Jay-Z and who else? Sienna Miller, LeBron James. Personally, I think LeBron James is a little bizarre. I don't like seeing men's ankles. Okay, high water pants to me are not a good fashion. And what else? What else did I want to mention? Brigitte Macron has her own little bottom there. You know, that's the woman that wife of the prime minister who our fearless Führer said to his the president of France, oh, she looks pretty good for her age, like you caught something good. There's a lovely picture of Jeff Goldblum here. There's a couple of ads for breast cancer. Quite a few ads for shows on Netflix. I don't recall seeing that before in Vanity. I have to go back over my earlier issue. Oh, a really good one about the Académie Française. That is called The Immortals and explains a little about what the Académie Française is and who joins and their habit vert, their $60,000 embroidered suits and fancy swords. It's when did it start? By Louis XIII, and there's just so much to read in the magazine. I mean, oh, and what else? I know I'm missing something. This is quite a change, I think, from the last Vanity Fair. If you remember, I was complaining that they had like a picture of that baseball player, holding on to J-Lo's ass. I think it's cleaned itself up a bit here. I'm happy to read this. There's only one perfume sample in it. There seems to be an awful lot about Dior in here too. It's a drink called Effin' Vodka. And so anyway, I enjoyed this magazine. Yeah, here's the one with the ad for the sanitary product. Really enjoying this. The writing is good. The photos are excellent. You get an awful lot of good stuff in. Oh, and there's one here, and also another article about the producer. I can't find her name. Jill Messick, the one who was accused of complicity with Harvey Weinstein. There's so much in here. You could spend, and I did spend an entire day reading the magazine. If you don't get any other magazines, I suggest you get something like this, which gives you your fashion, it gives you perfume samples, it gives you hints. They always take a very famous person and show what they use for makeup and all, and tips, so anyway, I enjoyed this, and I'm going to do another video in probably another 5 minutes. Bye-bye.